So they say it's not how many years there are to your life, but how much life there is to your years. And Grandma certainly had a surplus of both, whether working her puzzles and brain teasers to keep her mind sharp, driving herself to and from choir rehearsal at the tender age of 94, which she never let anyone know that, dancing circles around younger women on the dance floor, and leading Bernie. Our cousin Jessica had a wedding in August, and man, she led him around the dance floor like nobody's business. Or encouraging all of her family members to keep their faith no matter what. Grandma was a continual source of inspiration and stick-to-itiveness to all who knew her. And I had the wonderful opportunity to have some time alone with Grandma. We went shopping for her Easter outfit just a few months ago, and we got to talking, and I found out that my grandma got a degree in elementary education with an English major in the Great Depression. And so when our country was in chaos, my grandma, she pulled herself up by her bootstraps and got her degree, which is amazing. I mean, how amazing of a woman in the 30s when no one else was getting their education, Grandma got her degree. So looking back, I actually can't remember a time when Grandma was not in Bernie in my life. And for that, we totally feel so blessed. But Grandma was there with us when we were growing up. She was taking us to school, making sure we got all of our homework done. And if we did manage to nap instead of doing our homework, she would make sure to come over with us and tickle our lips with a plastic Ziploc bag. Because she was going to see if we were acting, if we were sleeping instead of doing our homework, or whether we were actually sleeping. But then later, when we caught Grandma sleeping, we'd say, "Grandma," and she'd be like, "Oh, I was just resting my eyes." So she would grill us grilled cheese, or my favorite dish of all time to this day is 1 egg over easy with toast all ripped up in a bowl and mixed together. It sounds really rudimentary, but it is delicious. So sometimes I'll recreate that when I'm feeling down. But growing up in church, Bernie and I would take such pride in seeing Grandma sit in her front row chair, a little to the right, and we always used to say that she looked like an angel, and she is now. So there were times when Bernie and I were younger, and we'd run to the choir room after the service and wait for her to get, unrobed and talk to you all. But while we were waiting, Bernie and I would run around the flagpole. So as we got older, that happened less, but those memories are still there. And one of the things that we always joked about in our family was when Grandma whispered, or when she tried to tell a secret, she would always cover the opposite side of her mouth that she was speaking out of. So she'd be whispering this way, when really it needed to go here. So whoever the person was she was whispering about would always see what she was talking about. And also her whisper voice, for the most part, you could hear. And there was a time in high school before I got my license where she drove me to an audition at the Golden Apple for something, and she was waiting in the lobby for me to finish. And there were a lot of girls there, and I was, of course, feeling intimidated and nervous. And Grandma whispered to me, "You're better than these girls, Christina. Don't worry." So her words, of course, made me feel better, but except I'm sure all the other girls heard them as well. Which probably wasn't the best thing. But that's how Grandma was, not afraid to speak her mind when push came to shove, as you all well know. And Grandma also had a soft spot for her grandsons, Mark and Bernie. They were both in charge of making sure everything ran on her car, because they're both auto mechanic to the mostest. And sometimes I'm thinking maybe Grandma would pray and hope for something to go wrong in that car so that those two boys would get together and figure it out for her. And we would also joke that Grandma would say the word "well," but turn it into a much longer and modulating word when she was considering something. So she would be like, "Well," and then she'd continue talking. So to use her phrase today, "Well, Grandma," you certainly know how to bring people together. And Grandma also really wouldn't say goodbye when talking on the phone or in conversation. I don't know, she probably just didn't like the finality of saying goodbye.
Yeah,
So she would always say bye-bye for now. So Grandma, because we know we'll all be seeing you again in good time,